Okay, everybody, here we go. It's me, Gregory Mannarino, post-market wrap-up, Thursday, June 27th, 2024. I have so much to cover with you. Some of this stuff is you're going to really love. Some of it maybe not so much. Let me just start off with this. I got an interesting correspondence today from someone, and apparently, are you ready for this? There is going to be a question tonight with regard to the debate with regard to the Federal Reserve. Now, this stuff it's all scripted, obviously. So let's look out for that. It's going to be a question about monetary policy in the Federal Reserve. If in fact this does happen, it's going to be a shocker to hear what comes out of the mouths of either of these things that we're going to hear from tonight. And their job is to, of course, divide the nation more so than it is. They're playing their roles very well here. I also want to dispel a myth here that's absolutely false in the defense of Donald Trump in just a little bit. It's interesting. Nobody blasts Joe Biden more than this guy sitting right here. And I notice if I don't, say that Donald Trump walks on water, then all of a sudden I become the Antichrist or something. I mean, the biggest bunch of Karens in the history of the world. And of course, it's kind of an interesting phenomenon here. But I am going to defend Donald Trump over something that's going around that is absolutely false. And I can prove that it's false. So stick around for that. All right, look, let's start off with these markets so I can get my head on nothing. We had some gains for the major averages today. Gold and silver put on a little bit. Commodities did okay. Cryptocurrency okay. So it's nothing. Nothing really here. What happens tonight during the show, and it's not real, of course, it may have an effect on the market, especially if in fact it's true. And this is on pretty good authority, people, about the question that is going to be floated out during the debate. There'll be no debate. It's all about hatred and division and anything they can do to keep us apart. Again, if we unify as a people, if we could find the strength to do that, well, we could win. Until then, we're a failed state. This obviously is a failed state. No nation divided can survive, and we are clearly divided, and that's the mechanism here. Whatever puppet they put over there has a job to do, and that's to keep people separated, unfortunately. But anyway, let's start off with this is interesting. So we got this GDP revision today. I know you're laughing. You're laughing already, those of you that are following this kind of stuff. So I want to use their own numbers here. So, I'm not making any of this stuff up. So this first quarter GDP revision here, apparently we're growing at 1.4%. All right, now if you strip out spending just for war, we're in the negative. Now let's just put this together. They want us to believe GDP. Let's again go by what they're saying. 1.4%. Current inflation rate 3.27. Their numbers. So obviously we are not doing too well, are we? And this mechanism here is just going to get monumentally worse as we move forward. There's no way to stop this. You have to understand how this is how this whole thing works, people. I don't know how to tell you this another way. Let me let's put this together. You've heard Greg Mannarino say that the last three presidents, including the current subhuman, in my view, whatever. All right, sitting behind the resolute desk. They have done more to empower the Federal Reserve and pile on debt than every president before them combined. If you look at the debt when Obama, creature thing, took office, so the U.S. debt was at $12 trillion. We are now at what, $34 trillion? So we've more than doubled it under the last three presidents alone. All this has done has empowered the Fed, made them monumentally stronger, And unfortunately, that mechanism is going to play out. Let me just cover some of that right now, real quick. And this again, I want to dispel I'm a truther. Okay, if you can't handle it, that's whatever it is. But I want to defend Donald Trump here. Honestly, so as I just said, when Obama took office, the debt was 12 trillion. We're now 34 trillion and 30 going way, way, way higher. What did the Congressional Budget Office said in 10 years? We're going to be over 54 trillion. We're never going to make it. Mitch knows what I'm talking about. Thank you. But let me just say this. Okay, so under Joe Biden, okay, mummy man himself, the U.S. debt, he's added $4.7 trillion to the debt. That's fact. Now, the rumor that's going around that is completely false is that Trump has outspent him like by 2 times. It's not true. And I'm going to prove this to you right now. While Donald Trump was president, yes, the debt went up 8.18 trillion. But you do realize that 3.6 trillion of that was COVID. So you really can't factor that in here. So that means that Trump did increase the debt 4.58 trillion, more so obviously than most people probably projected, but almost the same as Biden did. So pretty equal with regard to empowering the Federal Reserve. V-Dog, thank you. No, Obama here, it took him 8 years to increase the debt 9.3 trillion. So again, the rumor going around that Trump has outspent Biden is completely false. Okay, it's you. I mean, I know a lot of Biden fans here are going to, say that I'm wrong here, but I'm sorry, it's not a fact here. Yes, they did spend about the same, but you got to strip out the COVID spending here. Obviously, the shutting down of the economy, which was all a game here, obviously caused the Federal Reserve to inflate. Of course, the whole scam that was played on all of us. So anyway, I hope that helps those of you that are Trump supporters here, because I know a lot of you getting angry about that. It's not true. So anyway, but I mean, look, does that help anybody out here to think, oh wow, well Trump did the same thing that Biden did, and look, and with regard to inflation, like what we're seeing now, all right, we're going to hear the blame game tonight. Of course, and again, if they actually talk about Fed monetary policy, it's going to be interesting, because one of these guys, if they had any set of balls, would call out the Fed right there. They won't do it. If that does happen, I would be shocked. But anyway, yeah. So the fact that these last 3 guys have indeed ballooned the debt here is a fact, and all that has done is empower the Fed. Now, I want to bring something else to your attention while we're on the topic. So this is the front page of Market Watch. I want you to look closely at this picture here. So first, Biden-Trump debate of 24, how inflation, blah, 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 blah. Look at this picture. What do you see hidden in plain sight? You notice anything right here? I did something to bring out what's here so you can see it. It's this. Same picture. Look where Biden's finger is pointing. You see that? That Federal Reserve seal that's hidden behind all that? Both of these guys have worked for the Fed. They don't work for you. Again, blowing up the debt, as we've seen. And of course, and I hate to say this, okay, this guy is calling for a weaker dollar. This guy is also calling for further suppressed rates, which does what? Allows the Fed to fulfill their end game. This guy has no idea what's happening. Honestly, I expect to see some interest. I'm not even watching it tonight. I'm being honest with you. But this thing there, okay, in my view, is lacking. All right. But what this guy's calling for is unfortunate, very, very unfortunate, and will not help you. A weaker dollar is not a good thing. He's trying to sell this to you, to people who obviously have no idea what's happening here. Sure, again, it fulfills the corporate agenda, helps the Federal Reserve, and it's not going to help you. So that's where we stand on this. But that's kind of interesting, right? Hidden in plain sight, as I always tell you, the Federal Reserve seal. You got to pay attention to these things, people. Now, let's talk about economic news here, other than this GDP revision. It's unbelievable. They want us to cheer that the U.S. GDP is at 1.4%. But inflation here is 3.27. How does that work? So pending home sales crater. Imagine our shock. It's just home affordability has moved well above the ability for the average guy or the average girl to own a home, and that tells you we're in a hyper bubble. We also found out the trade deficit in goods widens and made to the highest level in a year, now sitting at 106 billion. Lovely. Okay. We also found out that the 4-week average of jobless claims hit the highest level since September. That's because the economy is so good. But all those bills that Obama pulled into existence, Trump minus the 3.6 trillion for COVID, and what this thing is done right now. All this is, it takes a while for these cash to make their way through the economy, especially when you have an economy in free fall. Red cell. Wow, thank you. So they're all responsible for this. You understand? And maintaining the illusion of the market. Okay, nobody was better at that than Trump. Look at the stock market. Look at your 401k. We're all rich. It's all going to go away. All going to go away. Now I want to talk about this liquidity crisis that we are in. It's getting worse, and the main issue is it's getting attention on the mainstream media. So let's do that. Let me explain this to you before I even move forward. The system we have, the debt-based system run by central banks, it's not run by presidents, kings, queens, monarchs, dictators, you or me, okay? The system operates in a perpetual vacuum, henceforth why trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars have to be pulled into the now, Obama, all these guys, Trump, this current thing. They have to come up with any reason to allow the Fed to inflate, otherwise the system implodes. And no one wants it to implode on their watch. If we had a real leader, okay, if we had someone with guts, someone with balls, okay, they would tell everybody the truth here about how central banks are destroying us, the deliberate dismantling of the economy, the deconstruction of the economy, allowing central banks to fulfill their goal to become the lenders and buyers of last resort. The fact is, this perpetual vacuum, black hole that the debt-based economic model operates in demands an ever-increasing debt. Henceforth, why we've seen the debt when Obama took office at 12 trillion, and now we're 34, 35 trillion, wherever the hell we are now. It's not going to stop. It can't stop. And no one's going to allow it to happen on their watch here. Again, whoever gets selected behind the resolute desk should have traitor stamped across their head because they're not working for you. Now, with regard to liquidity here and why we're seeing debt go hyperbolic right now. Again, the Treasury market liquidity is back in focus, but don't panic yet. Never panic. Okay. The system right now is being pumped by central banks who are buying it all. China, the Chinese central bank is doing it. The ECB is doing it. Canadian central bank is doing it. Federal Reserve, again, let me just bring this to your attention too. It's kind of a joke, and the joke is on us. So I came up with a name for Fed Bostic. We're going to call him Blow Stick. So Fed Blow Stick, okay? He's backing one rate cut this year, but the Fed is already cutting rates, and you can see this reflected in the bond yields dropping, the entire curve dropping. That's the Fed buying the debt. But Blow Stick, again, was floated out to mislead you. Oh, it's not happening. Just because they haven't said they're cutting rates, the Fed is cutting rates, period. Are we on the same page here? I think we are. This here is the driver. As you all know, you can see in real time what the Fed's doing. This is the MMRI, buying all the debt here, opening that window for cash to make its way into the stock market. Now, with regard to inflation, and we're going to hear a lot about this tonight, I'm sure, on the presidential, on the freak show debate here. How do you think they're going to bring this up? I don't think so. That food inflation is outpacing everything. Again, this apparent question that's going to be asked tonight is going to be a whopper in my view. And if it does happen, this guy's going to be very excited to hear the answers about what's going on here. But anyway, look, people, just to understand what's going on here. The reason why we're seeing debt expansion at the rate we're seeing it now is because the debt-based system operates in a perpetual black hole. It can never be fulfilled, no matter how much debt is borrowed into the system. Know how much we spend on war, how much we spend on weaponry, whatever they want to spend money on, it's not enough. It can never be enough. It can never become liquid. So the liquidity crisis here, the fact that it's getting attention on the mainstream media, that should tell you something, that we're probably not too far off. I still do not believe We're going to see it happen prior to the selection process, which we're going to see the freak show tonight. But after that, I would be willing to bet. You see, let's back up a little bit. During Trump's tenure, he tried to kind of he started out the right way with regard to COVID, but then unfortunately, I think he was told to shut his mouth, and we saw the way that played out. And I believe that it's very likely that if he is selected as the new figurehead, we could see another event like that, because he didn't have the guts to call it out for what it was. He tried to, but then he got shut down, unfortunately, in my view. And if they can get away with it, they'll do it again. Nothing could make the Fed happier than shutting down the economy again, then dividing us even further, allowing the central banks to, again, inflate, in this case, the Fed. That's where we're going. We have a system that is it's riddled with deceptions and lies and distractions. It's Babylon. A lot of you keep making that reference to me, and I think that's the truth. And unfortunately, we're living in it, and there is no saving grace here. And unfortunately, as I said earlier, the freak show that we're about to see tonight is going to unveil to the world how much of a failed state the United States is. I mean, it's an embarrassment what's going to happen later today. Imagine if we had two rational people, human beings, that could talk about issues that really matter, that without the lies, the deceptions, the distractions, the blame. We won't have that because that would bring people together. We cannot be allowed to unite. It's their greatest fear. Those, the Federal Reserve, those that run this system here, period. They will never let us come together, unfortunately. And they're going to do whatever they can to keep us divided. And because that's how we lose. I think we're pretty much on the same page. Jeffrey, thank you. Thanks, bro. Anyway, yeah, it's become Jack the Ripper here. It is almost no words for it. So what do you like? You like my name for Bostic? We're going to call him Blow Stick from now on. Again, they're floating a lot of these Fed presidents out, saying with the same message. You notice that? And of course, they're playing their game. Oh, we may not cut rates. We may even raise rates. But meanwhile, they're cutting rates right now because they think you're too stupid to see what's happening in the debt market. Who's buying all the debt? Ain't you, ain't me. Nobody's buying debt here with the stock market record high, understanding that this market's going much higher. Now, again, it's interesting. The video I did this morning, the title that says market could fall 80 to 90%. I've never wavered from that. Okay. We are playing the game because we know where we're going. Eventually, this thing is going to come down, but it's not going to end or begin in the debt market. The real crash is going to start in the debt market. The debt market is a time bomb. The system is illiquid. We all are on the same page with this. At least I hope so. Liquidity is drying up. Henceforth, why we're seeing ballooning debts and deficits and everything else, trade deficits, everything else. It can't stop until it does. But the bottom line is we are going to, you and me, probably not too far off, are going to face a locking up of the system. Look, I've said this a million times, but I want you to think about what I'm telling you again. The 2008 market crash wasn't really about a market crash. It was about a liquidity crisis. The system was locking, which liquidity, debt, credit, it was stopping to flow. If that happens, and it's going to, because it was happening then, the capital injections into the system is what freed it up. Now, all that did was cause inflation as well. It takes a long time for the cash to make its way through the economy. You all know that. Trump knows that. Biden has no idea what's going on. Obama clearly knew that. Eventually, we would be in the situation that we are now. And you and I called this out from day one. It's the money velocity, which is starting to pick up. That's a sign that all these extra bills that were created, especially under the last three, more than double the debt, is starting to make its way to chasing the same, or in this case, a lesser amount of goods. You understand? Very, very simple to put this whole thing together here. I lost my train of thought wherever I was going with that. But anyway, look, I know I'm talking. I'm probably preaching here to the choir. I hope all you guys and girls are on top of this, and we're going to stay that way. We can't. Oh yeah, with the market, eventually this is going to melt down on a scale that people aren't going to believe. There's no connection to reality. How many times have you heard me say this? There is no price discovery today between a single asset. When you have this kind of a mechanism of vastly inflating debt, and central banks that are going out of the way to create it, this environment isn't by accident. The Federal Reserve isn't inflating just because they think it's fun. There's an end game here. They want to own it all. They're buying it all. Central banks colluding together. We, the people of this world, need to unite to take down these institutions. It won't happen. All they're going to put is another freak behind the resolute desk and then pull another scamdemic on us here, or create more war, another reason to kill each other, more hatred, more division, and again, more war, more death, more suffering, however they got to do it. Mitch knows exactly what I'm talking about. There's no doubt about it. You think they're going to allow us to come together? Why do you think this show is really going on tonight? What do you think this is really all about? It's about division. It's not about unity. I think you would have to agree with me on that. Anyway, that's how high can the debt go? As high as they want it to go. As high as we allow it to go. When people start, I'm just answering you a question here. No, war will probably pick the market up higher, because more spending, more debt will devalue the currency, and the market will go higher. People just don't understand how money moves through markets. With regard to the debt, it's going to go as high as they want, but we're going to pay for it all. We're paying for it now with regard to inflation. We're going to pay more as the Fed continues to inflate, ballooning the money supply, finding some freak that will sit behind the resolute desk and talk about currency devaluation. That's Trump. Overtly saying it, okay? And if you don't like the truth, I am sorry. You are free to unsubscribe. You think I'm making this stuff up? Look it up for yourself. The man even called for negative rates while he was president. How does that help you? Paying the banks to keep your cash in these institutions. Oh, rah, rah, rah. That would help you real good. Would have made this economy even better, huh? Can't make this stuff up. When you have people that are so brainwashed, so thirsty for, I don't know, to be lied to, because that's what we've learned since the moment we are born is lies and fairy tales. They just aren't true. And consumerism to the highest possible order. When you grow up in that, well, then of course everything, the truth is very painful. You can't, words do have power, and people hate it when they hear the truth. They can't handle it. Anyway, that's it, people. I don't know what else to say to all of you, but I've never wavered from this. We are going to experience the crash of a lifetime at one point of their choosing. More war will devalue the currency, of course, and prop up the stock market as well. Rate suppression is going to be the story moving. I already see the writing on the wall, moving into the next presidential cycle, no matter who they stick behind the resolute desk. And that ain't going to be good for you. Ain't going to be good for me. The only way we can win here is to take down the central banks. And we could win like that if we had someone with guts enough to prevent the Fed from issuing $1 of debt. Just one. If we could stop the Fed from inflating, and I mean this, $1, the Federal Reserve would implode at that moment. They would start to implode, and that would start a domino effect around the world that would shut down every single central bank. We need to take back the system that they forced us to participate in, this debt-based economic model. Does that make sense to you? I hope so. Anyway, yeah, blow stick. This thing is a blow stick. I can't stand it. I can't stand these Federal Reserve. Why do they float these things out? Do you think they're telling you the truth? Of course not. When you hear a Fed president like blow stick come out here and tell you, oh, the Fed, we might cut rates. They're doing it now. We see it right in our face. You see, they always try to convince you that what you are seeing with your own eyes is not real. Well, I think we're way too smart for that. And I think most of you here would have to agree. Oh, we're definitely going to see more war, more death, more reason for hatred, more division, unfortunately. There's no doubt about it. No other endeavor on this earth creates, the unfortunate need for more currency to be created out of nothing, which of course makes central banks even happier than war. War requires more cash than any other endeavor. Killing each other. They want it because you all know that's where we're going. Of course, I think if you believe for a second that we are not going to see a vast reduction in the population of this world as we move forward, well, then I think you're way off base here too. That's clearly where we're going. Clearly where we're going. This neo-feudal system, this system of control, this digital system that's coming out, this tokenized system. It's a lock, and Trump now calling himself the Bitcoin president, the crypto president, got a lot of you rattled about that. Yeah, I happen to. You know what? I'm going to just hold my tongue on that one there. Anyway, all right, people, you see the setup. You know where we're going. It is the art of deception, and it's an incredible thing to see. And once we realize that we are supposed to be able to govern ourselves, we don't need a Trump, we don't need a Biden, we don't need anything. We need to understand that we could take the system back if we weren't relying on this freak show to supposedly govern us. Really? We're supposed to be able to govern ourselves. Meanwhile, again, we have deteriorated to such a degree that people in this country they can't even define what a man or a woman is anymore, or which bathroom they should use. That should tell you how bad things are and how things are forced upon you. That you're forced to, if you don't like a certain thing, well, then you're phobic about it. You're fearing. Phobic is fear, Hydrophobic, like water, fearing. You know what I mean? Anyway, you got it. You see where I'm going with this? You can't make this stuff up if you try to, people. It's true. Anyway, yeah, Fed phobic. I think look, we shouldn't fear the Fed. We need to get rid of the Fed. And until we have a way to do that, we will lose. No matter who wins the debate tonight, there's no winning. There's just magnitudes of losses for you and I. You understand? All this is going to be, again, is a method to divide people. You think they're going to come together? You think these guys are going to... You think it's an amazing thing how they keep people like, red wing, right wing, two wings of the same bird. So uniparty. Once you realize that, and this is all a mechanism to destroy you, I think you're going to be a lot better off. Until that time, you're going to be lost. All right, people, we are going to go. We're going to part. The next time we meet, it'll be Status Post Ultimate Clown Show on the face of the earth. But again, I am just so excited about this here. Here, hold on a minute. Here. Apparently is going to be a question about Federal Reserve monetary policy. And the source here, very interesting. There's a lot of people who follow Greg Mannarino who I would never imagine do. Wake up call for me, and should be for you. All right, people, look, I'm kind of out of here. All right, again, I love all of you from the heart. I mean that. We got to come together, man. We got to come together. Otherwise, we're going to lose. This is a failed state because we aren't coming together. They know how to keep us where they want us. And that means we're losing. Thanks for being here. Thanks for your love. Thanks for your support. I will see you all in the morning. I am going drag racing right now. I'm going to be changing to my fire suit. I'm going to get my Copo is already ready to go. My car. I'm going to be at Bradenton Motorsports Park. Maybe I'll see some of you there. Invariably, some of you show up. It'd be nice to interact with you. So I'm going to miss the freak bait. The freak bait. Yeah, not debate. The freak bait, whatever it is, blow sticks and everything else notwithstanding. So that's it. All right. Love you all from the heart. I'll see you all in the morning. Now, until we meet again, people, please take care of yourselves. Take care of each other.